The sky above planet Varian 6 was full of warships. They came from all over the galaxy. These ships were not here for peace. They were here for war. On the ground, thousands of alien soldiers stood ready. They belonged to the Gralian Empire, the most powerful force in this part of space. The Gralians had fought and won hundreds of wars. They had strong armor, heavy weapons, and minds trained only for battle. Their commanders looked at the battlefield with calm confidence. Satellite scans showed nothing moving, no human armies, no tanks, no airstrikes. The Gralian officers laughed. "Is this Earth's answer?" General Yarok asked. His voice was cold. "We sent them a warning. We gave them time. And they send nothing?" But then something changed. One of the Skywatcher drones beeped. "Incoming. Small drop pod. Single occupant." The officers frowned. "Just one?" Another alien asked. The drop pod broke through the clouds. It came fast, almost too fast. No escorts, no defense system, no weapons seen. Just a small metal capsule falling like a stone. It hit the ground with a deep thud, sending dust and smoke into the air. All the alien eyes turned toward it. "It's a mistake," someone muttered. "They launched early, or it's a scout." "No," General Yarok said slowly. "This was planned. Look at the speed. Look at the path. It landed right in front of our central army." The soldiers waited, weapons ready, mechs activated. Tanks turned toward the smoke. For 10 long seconds, nothing moved. Then, the pod opened. The door didn't fall out with a crash. It hissed open, calm and quiet, like someone had all the time in the world. And out stepped one human. He wore no power, armor, no helmet, just dark, simple combat gear. He had a small pack on his back and a long weapon slung over his shoulder. Not a plasma gun, not a rail cannon, just something old. Something from Earth's early wars. He looked around slowly, like a man stepping into a garden, not a war zone. The alien soldiers raised their weapons. He didn't flinch. General Yarok's command unit zoomed in on his face. No fear, no anger, just calm, steady eyes. "What is this?" A soldier whispered. "Is he mad?" "No," said Yarok. "He's confident." The human began walking, right toward them, not fast, not slow. Just walking, like he had done it 1,000 times before. The Gralian front line shouted warnings. "Halt! Stop walking!" The human didn't respond. They fired warning shots. Explosions near his feet. The ground shook. Smoke filled the air. He didn't stop. Yarok gave the order. Hit him. Fully. Tanks fired. Drones swarmed. Artillery launched. The place where the human stood became fire and light. No one could survive that. The air burned. Smoke climbed into the sky. Dust blinded the eyes. But when the wind cleared, he was still standing. His shirt was torn. Blood on his arm. But his eyes were the same. He moved again. Closer. Alien stepped back. "Impossible," someone gasped. "Nothing lives through that." "He did," Yarok said. The human finally stopped 10 steps from the alien front line. He dropped his pack, pulled out a small radio, switched it on. He said 5 words. "I'm here. You may begin." Then, nothing. No strike force came. No human army landed. But everything changed. 3 hours passed. Alien command posts received strange reports. A watchtower destroyed. No survivors. A tank squad silent. No signals. Scout drones offline. Every time the last signal showed the same image. A shadow. A man walking through fire. No vehicles. No help, just him. Yarok didn't believe it. "This is war," he told his officers. "One man can't be war." But deep down, fear started to grow. That night, the human disappeared into the jungle outside the city. Troops followed, hundreds. They didn't return. Cameras from one of the scout drones showed flashes of light. Then screams, then silence, all from one man. The jungle went dark again. A new day began. Aliens found symbols near their camps. Drawn with ash and mud. It was a human skull. Not as a threat. As a warning. By the third day, the alien army stopped sending small squads. They sent full strike teams. Air support, artillery. Still, none came back. One Gralian pilot reported seeing the human walk straight through a minefield. His boots never touched a single trap. He just knew. Another report said the human hacked into their drone control line. No one knew how. The feed showed him looking directly into the drone's camera, smiling. Then static. General Yarok sat in his control tent, silent. Someone whispered, "And he's breaking us." One young soldier said what no one dared. "Maybe he's not human." Yarok finally spoke. "No," he said. "He's human. That's what makes it worse." By the end of the week, the entire Gralian army pulled back to the central city. Walls raised. Defense systems activated. Automated turrets locked. Still, no attack came until nightfall. When the lights went out. All of them. Every power grid. Every camera. Every gun system. Offline. Total darkness. Then. Footsteps. Soft. Calm. Unrushed. Soldiers panicked. Fired in all directions. Screams echoed. Then silence. When dawn came, the power returned. The command center's giant screen lit up. A message appeared. Just one sentence. "I told you, it's begun." Under it, a live feed. Of General Yarok's elite guards. All down. No wounds, no burns, just fear frozen on their faces. Yarok gripped the edge of the table. His claws dug deep into the metal. "Who is he?" His second-in-command asked. Yarok stared at the screen. "I don't know," he whispered. "But he's not here to fight like us. He fights like something. Older." In the far jungle, the human cleaned his blade. He looked up at the rising sun. A soft breeze passed through the leaves. He closed his eyes and spoke quietly. "One down." Then he disappeared into the trees. The jungle outside the alien city was no longer quiet. Motion sensors beeped nonstop. Thermal scanners flickered in confusion. The trees swayed even when there was no wind. But no one could see him. The human had become a shadow. Deep under the city, Commander Viken stood in front of the prison gates. He had once led the ground forces in 3 solar systems. Brave, strong, and feared. Now his hands trembled. "We have motion inside the tunnels," said the guard beside him. "That's impossible," Viken replied. All gates were sealed. They were. The lights flickered. The steel walls began to hum. Like something was pressing against them. A sound came from behind the gate. Tap. Tap. Not fists. Not claws. Footsteps. Yarok was now in the central war room, staring at live feeds from every corner of the city. Hundreds of soldiers on screen. Every weapon online. "Find him," he barked. "Show me where he is." But every screen, every camera was showing the same strange thing. Nothing. Only the moment after something had happened. An explosion without a source. A body without a fight. A gun dropped without a shot fired. It was like he was everywhere and nowhere. The human walked silently through a service tunnel. He didn't check maps. He didn't slow down. He already knew the way. His eyes caught a flash of light ahead. A laser. Trap. He ducked. Not fast. Just right. The beam passed over his head. He smiled. Too easy. Back in the war room, one technician shouted, "Sir, tunnel breach." "He's headed for the shield core." Yarok's eyes widened. If the shield core went down, the city would be open to airstrikes and worse. Send every unit. Don't let him reach that room. They did. 2 full squads. Sealed doors. Gas traps. Electric floors. The human reached the checkpoint. Guards aimed plasma rifles at him, on the ground. They shouted. He didn't move. They fired. The smoke cleared. He wasn't there. They turned to run, only to see him standing behind them. Click. Their weapons locked. He jammed them. before they could scream. The lights blinked off again. Seconds later, the room was silent. In the shield core control room, an officer tried to shut down access. He pressed buttons fast, changed codes, overwrote logs. The door hissed open. The human stepped in. The officer pointed a gun with shaking hands. Please, please, I have a family. The human looked at him, not cold, not angry, just tired. I'm not here for you. He reached into his pack, took out a small metal cube, placed it gently on the floor. It glowed softly. Then, without another word, the human left. The officer stared at the cube. It showed a message: system will fail in 10 minutes. Get out. Sirens howled across the city. The shield dome flickered. Soldiers panicked. Commanders yelled. Yorick slammed his fists on the table. Why didn't he kill anyone? No one answered. The truth scared them more. This human could have killed thousands. But he chose not to. He was doing something worse. He was showing them how weak they really were. Escape ships launched. Troops retreated from the outer gates. No one wanted to face him. Even those who hadn't seen him in battle were afraid. The fear was now inside them. Far away, in the ruins of the first camp he destroyed, a recording played on loop. A child's voice. Not alien. Are you afraid of the dark? Then silence. Then the sound of boots walking away. Yorick stood alone in his command center. He looked at the screen one last time. A new image appeared. It was the human. Standing in the middle of their city square. Looking up at the sky. UNB OTHERED. Unarmed. Calm. Done. He vanished again. Later, many would ask, why didn't he bring an army? Why didn't he speak to us? Why didn't he kill everyone? But one old soldier had the answer. Because they were never the real target. Their fear was final. Scene, end of part 1, on a quiet hill outside the city. The human looked down at the chaos. The shield dome collapsed behind him. Ships flew away like birds in panic. He sat down on a rock, opened a small metal book. Inside, it were names. He checked off one. Then turned the page. More names. More cities. More empires. He closed the book and said softly, 1 down. 7 to go. Then he stood and walked into the desert, alone again. The great city of Terval Prime had never fallen in 1,000 years. It was built inside a mountain. Its walls were made of living stone, stronger than steel. Cannons pointed toward the sky. Drones flew every hour. The tunnels had traps, sensors, even lava pits. It had stopped 4 invasions. It had survived 2 Starquakes. But today, it was afraid of one man. Just one human. No army behind him. No ships in orbit. Only him. And he was already inside. The guards at Gate 17 died without making a sound. Security drones showed the gate was sealed. No breach detected. But the guards vanished. When backup arrived, only their helmets were left on the floor. Still warm. General Yorick, commander of Terval Prime, slammed his fist on the table. I want every soldier ready, he growled. We will not fall like the outer colonies. This is not some village in the jungle. This is the core. Officers nodded. They locked every gate, deployed every drone, brought out the old war machines, the ones not used in 300 years. Then, from the speaker on the wall, a human voice. Soft. Calm. You locked the doors too late. Underground, 2 engineers checked the reactor level. Something was wrong. Lights flickered. Warning signs blinked. Then the human stepped out of the shadows. They screamed, but he didn't attack. He looked at them. You should leave now, he said. One engineer dropped his tools and ran. The other stood frozen. Please, he whispered. The human nodded slowly. You have 5 minutes. Then he was gone. Above ground, fire alarms started ringing. Smoke came from the weapon bay. Flames spread fast, not from bombs, but from inside the walls. He's using our own power lines. Someone shouted. No, said the technician. He's using us. He knows this city better than we do. They didn't know how, but he did. He shut down the oxygen in Block 4. Without touching a thing, he rerouted sewage into command rooms. He cut power to doors and opened all the vaults. Prisoners escaped. Robots went wild. In all this, while he walked, General Uruk sent his elite hunter team, 10 of the best soldiers, trained to kill anything, even humans. They tracked his heat signal near the west stairwell. They didn't return. When a recon drone flew in, it showed the stairwell full of water. Floating in it were the team's guns, still clean, untouched. Then the speaker spoke again. I warned you. I gave your generals time. Now the world watches. Across the galaxy, hidden cameras fed the signal. Planets and other systems watched the fall of Terval Prime live, not through bombs, not with nukes, but through fear. Far below, the humans stood inside the ancient core. This was the brain of the city, a chamber built by machines. 900 years ago. He placed a small black cube on the floor. Lights turned red. Code flowed through the walls. The city AI tried to fight it, but the cube spoke louder. And smarter. The AI went quiet. Then obeyed. Sirens screamed. Gates opened without orders. Ships launched without pilots. Weapons turned toward the city itself. Shut it all down. Uruk shouted, but it was too late. Outside the mountain, the people of Terval saw something they had never seen. The sky dome flickered and vanished. The mountain gates opened, and out walked the human. No blood on him. No scratches. He didn't run. Walked. Behind him, the city shook. Then burned. Then fell. Stone cracked. Towers crumbled. Terval Prime was gone. A pilot watched from his ship. He whispered, no missiles. No army. His co-pilot finished the sentence. No mercy. Uruk survived. Barely. He crawled out of the broken city. One eye missing. Armor melted. He looked up and saw the human standing on a hill. Uruk raised his weapon. The human didn't move. Uruk pulled the trigger. Click. Empty. The human walked away. No words. No need. On a space station far from the battlefield, diplomats argued. Why is Earth doing this? One shouted, they only sent one man. Another said, this isn't war. This is something else. A voice came from the shadows. A human ambassador. Old. Calm. He said only one line. You trained for war, but not for him. Closing scene, final minutes. In a cave deep in a silent forest, the human sat near a fire. He opened the metal book again, crossed out another name call on Terval Prime. Then he looked at the next line. Alok's command, Sector 7C. He stared at it for a while. Then whispered, 3 days. He closed the book. Stood up. And vanished into the trees. The cell was deep underground. No windows, no sound. No doors that opened without 7 keys. Inside, the human sat quietly on a cold metal bench. No chains. No cuffs. They had tried those. He broke them. Without effort. Now they didn't even try to restrain him. They just watched. Commander Threk stood outside the cell wall. It was made of 6 layers of energy shields, enough to stop a tank. He stared at the human through a screen. The human stared back. Not angry, not scared, just still. You should be afraid. Threk said. The human didn't blink. You are alone. No one is coming. Still silence. Threx leaned forward. We've studied you. You bleed. You breathe. You sleep. You are flesh. Finally, the human spoke. His voice was soft. You forgot something. What? The human smiled. I don't fear death. Main plot. They caught him during a trap. A fake city designed only to lure him in. He walked straight into it. Didn't run. Didn't hide. He fought. Yes, but then stopped. He let them surround him. Let them shock him. Let them take him. They thought it was a victory. But now the longer they held him, the more nervous they became. Doctors ran tests. They took his blood. His cells were strange. They didn't die. Under pressure, they adapted. Faster than any species they'd seen. His brain scans made. No sense. His fear center. Cold, no activity. No fear reaction, the medic whispered. Not even a survival reflex. Threx growled. You're lying. I'm not, the doctor replied. He has no fear. Not even during pain. They tried everything. Loud noise. Darkness. Poison gas. Burning light. He didn't scream. He didn't resist. He simply watched. And sometimes smiled. One day, Threx himself entered the cell. Alone. He carried a weapon. Not to kill. To hurt. Do you want pain, human? The human said nothing. Threx struck. Ribs. Cracked. The human fell to the floor. Still no sound. Blood dripped. But the human just looked up. And whispered. Was that your best? Threx struck again. Harder. Then, again. The human's face bruised. His arm broke, but he laughed. That laugh echoed down the prison halls like thunder in a tomb. Threx stormed out. I want him gone. He shouted. Airlock him. Eject him into space. His second in command hesitated. But what if that's what he wants? Threx froze. A thought entered his mind. One he didn't like. Is he letting us win? Meanwhile, in the human cell, something began to change. Not in him. In the guards. One stopped sleeping. Another refused to stand near the cell. A third began talking to shadows. They rotated in new soldiers. It didn't help. Fear spread. Like a virus. One young soldier was sent to clean the hallway. He saw the human sitting alone. But when their eyes met, the boy dropped his mop. He fell to his knees. Tears rolled down his face. Why do I feel cold? He asked. The human answered. Because you were taught to be strong, but never to be empty. Back in the control room, Threx made a call to the High Council. Permission to end him. Denied, they said. He must be studied. He must be understood. Threx roared. You don't understand. He's not here to fight. What then? He's here to break us one by one. 3 days passed. Then 4. Then silence. No orders from the council. No response from command. They checked the comm lines. They had been cut. Remotely. The human hadn't moved in hours. But the power to the station dropped to 40%. Doors stopped working. Guns lost aim. Shields flickered. How? The engineers screamed. He had no tools. No tech. Just a small cube they had missed. Hidden inside his skin. Now active. One by one, cells unlocked. Not just his. All of them. Every prisoner walked free. They didn't know why. But they all walked in the same direction, toward him. The guards fled, even Threx. He locked himself in the command tower, watched from the cameras as the human walked through open doors. Blood still on his face. Bones still healing, but eyes clear, eyes alive. He reached the main hangar, found a ship. No one stopped him. No one even moved. He looked once at the camera and said only one sentence. You had your chance. The ship rose through the station airlock. The human left. No bombs planted. No weapons fired. The station exploded. From inside. Final scene. In a hidden room far from any world, a shadow council spoke. He's not just human, one said. He's not just a soldier, said another. What is he then? The room fell silent. Until a voice in the dark said, he is fear in human skin. Far away, in a small escape ship, the human sat alone. He took out his metal book, crossed out another name. Station Theta-Vault. Next on the list, Homeworld Command. He whispered, no fear, no mercy, just the truth. Then powered up the engines and flew into the dark. The skies above the planet Jaraxxus turned black, not from night, but from ships. A full battle fleet, 77 destroyers, 15 dreadnoughts, 4 carriers, all orbiting above a small gray world, all waiting for one thing, one human. the same. One who brought down cities, the same one who escaped the sealed station. This time, he would not escape. They had him trapped. Surrounded. Watched from space, air, and land. There was no path left. No door open. He was already on Jaraxxus, alone again, and the fleet came to finish what no army could. Fleet. Admiral Kassir stood aboard the command dreadnought, Sunbreaker. He wore medals from 50 campaigns. His voice was sharp and proud. "Today we end this madness," he said. "He is not a god, not a myth, just a man." On the surface, the human walked through a ruined mining town. No people. Just ash. He touched the ground gently. Eyes closed. He remembered what happened here. How the aliens bombed their own colony, just to keep humans from helping it rise. He opened his book, crossed out another name, then closed it. Above him, the sky burned with engines. He didn't look up. He kept walking. Fleet Command initiated Phase 1. Drones dropped. Thousands. They scanned everything: air, ground, heat, movement. One drone spotted him. Target locked. Others joined. A swarm followed him. He kept walking. No weapons raised. No running. Just walking. The drones formed a tight net, then activated strike mode. Lasers, missiles, sonic blasts. The town exploded in light when it cleared. There was nothing, only broken buildings and smoke. They scanned for bodies. None. Then a soft ping. One drone near the edge of town sent one word: "Here." The camera showed the human standing in a small shop, looking at a broken mirror. Not even scratched. Admiral Kassir growled, "Enough, begin Phase 2. 10 fighters dropped from orbit. Fast. Loud. Each carrying weapons, meant to destroy tanks. They flew information, closing on him from all sides. He didn't run. He didn't even turn to look. As the fighters approached, something unexpected happened. Their systems froze. All controls went dark. Engines died. Missile locks vanished. "Mayday! Mayday!" the pilots screamed. Then, one by one, the fighters fell from the sky. Not hit, not shot, turned off. Kassir's face turned pale. "How?" A voice came through the fleet channel. Not from Earth. From him. Human. Just 6 words. "I told you not to follow." Then silence. They launched tanks next. 3 battalions. They rolled across the desert. Turrets ready, scanners sharp. They didn't reach the town. They stopped halfway. Each one shut down. Drivers locked inside. No sign of hacking. No power. Like ghosts had touched their cores. Back in orbit, Admiral Kassir had one final order: bring the fleet down. All of it, now. 20 warships descended. Smoke clouds spread over the horizon. Their guns glowed red, each aimed at the town. The plan: blast the surface. Leave nothing behind. Not even dust. The human stood still. At the center of the street. He placed a small metal cube at his feet, pressed one side. Nothing happened. Not at first. But then, the sky cracked. A blinding wave rose from the town like a wall of silver. Every ship hit the wave. Every system blinked. Every alarm screamed. The wave wasn't heat, wasn't EMP. It was a signal, a pattern no computer understood. But every ship reacted the same. Retreat. Not by order. By instinct. Their engines turned. Their weapons powered down. Autopilot re-engaged. The ships ran like animals smelling fire. Only Admiral Kassir's dreadnought stayed. He stood frozen, watching from orbit. His crew begged him, "Sir, we have to leave." He didn't respond. He was staring at the feed. The human looked directly into the ship's camera and nodded. Just once. That was enough. Kassir turned to his crew. "Go." The last ship vanished into the stars, and the man stood alone again. No fires. No shots. No blood. Just silence. And fear. Aftermath. Galactic news screamed headlines. 1 human, 1 town, 1 fleet retreats. What weapon did he use? Was it magic? Was it mind control? Is this the end of the war? But Earth never claimed him, never explained, never said anything. They didn't have to, because silence said enough. On a peaceful moon, two alien children played with toy soldiers. One said, "You be the human." The other said, "No. The human never loses." They laughed. But their father, standing nearby, didn't laugh. He had seen the real human once. He still had nightmares. In a hidden starbase, a group of alien commanders met. "Why didn't we stop him?" One asked. "Because we tried to kill him," another replied. "But he came for something else." "What?" "Not our lives." They all looked at each other. Our fear. Final scene. In a cave lit by soft blue fire, the human sat alone. He didn't speak. He didn't eat. He just listened. To wind, to air, to quiet. Then he opened the book, crossed out another name, Jirax's fleet. Below that, Nara Prime Citadel. He stared at the name. Then whispered, "I'll walk there," and began the journey, on foot, through the stars. The planet Nara Prime was still untouched by war. Its cities were bright. Its people believed they were safe. They had the strongest energy walls, orbital cannons, and millions of trained soldiers. No enemy had ever landed there. Not even close. But today, they were afraid, not because of explosions, not because of warning sirens, but because of a message, just one. From deep space. No sender listed. No ship name. Just a short transmission. He is walking toward you. You will open the gates, or he will walk through them. The message played on every screen, then disappeared. Main story. The High Council of Nara Prime gathered in the Sky Tower. 10 leaders. All experts in war. All scared. Counselor Rith was first to speak. "We've sent drones, satellites, scouts. No ship. Then how is he coming?" Asked another. Counselor Varro whispered, "He walks." "That's what the report said." "From where?" Varro slowly raised his eyes. "From the last place he ended." Everyone went silent. They knew where that was. Jor axis. Over 3 star systems away. And still, the message said, "He is walking on the border world Celeron 3. A soldier stood at the gate. He stared at the desert. His scanner beeped. He zoomed in. One life form, small, human. Walking. Double quote, sir. He radioed in. "It's him." "Shoot," came the order. He didn't. He couldn't. Hands froze. The figure just kept walking. No ship. No armor. Just footsteps. The soldier dropped his weapon. And opened the gate. Within hours, 5 nearby colonies shut down. Not from attack. From fear. Ships left. Leaders ran. They didn't wait for him. They left before he arrived. At the Nara Prime Command Center, defense reports poured in. Colony 218 evacuated. Outpost Delta turned dark. Drone relay station offline. Orbital satellites self-destructed without orders. No sign of the human yet. But still, every report ended with the same line. "We believe he's near." People began to panic. Shops closed. Markets empty. Families fled underground. Then, the sky darkened. Not from him, from fear itself. Back on the path, the human walked alone. His boots were worn, clothes dusty. His back carried only a small bag. He looked tired, but his eyes stayed clear. Focus. He saw a sign on a broken wall. "Turn back, this system is defended." He touched it softly. Then walked past it. Inside Nara Prime Citadel, Counselor Rith gave the final order. "Activate the planet killer. If he gets within 100 kilometers, we destroy everything." "But the civilians," one officer said. "I don't care," Rith shouted. "He's not a man, he's something else." On day 5, a child in a refugee camp saw him from the hills. She waved. He waved back. No. Guards stopped her. She walked to him, gave him a flower. He took it. Kneeling, he said, "Thank you." Then gave her a cube. "Hold this if they ever hurt you." And walked on. The cube glowed gently in her hands. On day 6, a rebel army surrendered. They sent a message to the galaxy. We're done. We don't want war. We don't want him to come here. No one had seen him there, but they still gave up. At Nara Prime, the final walls were raised, 50 meters tall, made of plasma steel, guarded by tanks and flyers. Every gate had guns, but inside, everyone was silent because they knew he was near. That night, a sound played through the wind. Boots. Walking. Not fast. Not slow. Just coming closer. Counselor Rith watched through a telescope. He saw a shape far down the mountain road. One man, one shadow. He stared into the lens too long and collapsed. Later, the medic said there was no wound, just terror, like his heart gave up. The next morning, the gates were found open. Not broken. Just unlocked. No one admitted to opening them. Cameras showed nothing, just an empty road. Then, one frame of a man's foot stepping inside. The human walked through the outer wall. No one fired. Soldiers dropped there. Weapons. Some ran, some knelt. No one could stop him. No one even tried. He reached the inner city. The High Council had already evacuated. Only one old scientist stayed behind. He stood in the library. Waiting. When the human entered, the man didn't run. He only asked, "Why are you doing this?" The human looked around at the old books. Then said, "Because someone must show the truth." The old man whispered, "What truth?" The human answered, "That fear does not come from fire. It walks, and it remembers." Outside, a crowd gathered. Thousands stood still, watching him, not screaming, not moving, just waiting. He walked past them. No one touched him. No one dared. As he left the city gates, a whisper ran through the crowd like wind. He was here. That night, messages lit up across 27 systems. Nara Prime has fallen. No war, no damage, only silence. Final scene. On a quiet asteroid base, alien leaders spoke again. "We trained for war." One said. "We prepared for weapons," another added. Then the elder among them said, "But we were never trained for fear." He looked out the window toward the stars and said one last line, "And it's still walking." On a mountain far from all cities, the human sat under the stars. He opened his book, crossed out another name, Nara. Prime Citadel. Below it, Homeworld, Gralian Core. He looked up. And whispered, "Almost there." Then closed his eyes and slept peacefully. In a secret lab hidden under Gralian Core, a massive machine woke up. It had no heart. No fear. No soul, because it was never alive. It was made to end life, built for only one mission: to kill the human. Its name was whispered by scientists and generals, Godkiller, because it had ended species before, because it didn't just destroy bodies. It erased DNA. It removed names from memory. The moment Gralian Council heard the human was walking toward their homeworld, they activated it, and this time, they would not make the mistake of waiting. They would not let him reach the gates. Main story. On the edge of Gralian space, the human stood on a small moon. He stared at the red star above. His boots were cracked. His back was bleeding. But his walk never changed. He was close now. One last system. The Gralian war leaders met inside their underground fortress. "This time we do not wait," said Supreme Warlord Hark. "We don't send drones. We don't build walls." Another general nodded. "We send it." They all turned to the glowing tube at the center of the room. Inside floated the machine. Black. Silent. Twisted. More weapon than shape. Wired directly to the planet's core. No pilot. No mercy. No weakness. They launched the Godkiller from orbit. It didn't make noise. It didn't use fuel. It simply moved across stars, through silence. A living weapon with one face in its memory. The human looked up. He felt it. Even before he saw it, he stopped walking. The sky above him flashed. Then split, and there it was, descending without fire, without sound, like death had taken a form. Godkiller landed with a tremble that cracked the moon's ground. It rose on 6 razor legs, 10 arms, each holding a weapon from 100 worlds. Its chest opened, showing a dark red core. Inside it was nothing. Just void. Just ERAS, URE. It scanned him. One life form. No armor. No ship. Weak heat signature. No known threats. Threat level low. Then the human smiled. The Godkiller attacked first. A sonic wave meant to stop hearts. But the human didn't fall. He walked forward. Next, a light beam, hot enough to melt moons. But he didn't burn. He kept walking. Missiles launched. 10 at once. They struck him directly. The crater formed was deep. Dust rose like a storm. The moon shook for a moment. Silence. The machine scanned. Target destroyed. Then bootsteps. One. Then another. The dust cleared. And the human stepped out, wounded. Bleeding. But still smiling. He whispered, "You tried fear, but forgot fire learns." The machine switched to final protocol. It opened its void core, a black hole in its chest. Anything caught inside would vanish, not just from space, but from memory. Time twisted. Rocks stretched, even light bent. The human stepped closer. His body pulled, bending toward the core. Still, he smiled, then dropped something. Cube. It hit the ground and split in half. A signal shot into the core. The void blinked. Then reversed. The machine screamed, a sound no one had ever heard. It bent backward. Its arms twitched. Its legs cracked. The human walked into the collapsing energy. 1 step, 2 steps. Then placed his hand on the core. "Good night," he said. It shut down. Back on Gralian core. All the screens went black. No signal. No response. Godkiller is offline. The generals didn't speak. They only watched. Then a transmission came in from the same moon. No video. His voice. Soft.com. "You sent a machine without fear. But I carry something worse. I carry memory. And I remember every name you burned." Then silence. Across the galaxy people heard. From rich planets to broken colonies, the message spread. The Godkiller is gone. The human still walks. At an alien school on a peaceful world. Children painted pictures. One child drew the human. When asked why, she said, "Because monsters don't scare me anymore." In a rebel base hiding on a distant moon, an old soldier lit a candle. He had lost his family to Gralian weapons. He whispered, "One man does more than armies." The Gralian Council prepared for evacuation. "This world is no longer safe," Hark said, but one elder among them stood and shouted, "Do you not see? We sent everything. We failed. If he reaches us, we deserve what's coming." Final scene on the ruined moon. The human sat beside the dead machine. He looked tired, but calm. He opened his book, crossed out a name, Godkiller. Under it, Gralian core. He stared at that name for a long time, then whispered, "No more walls. No more gates. It ends where it began." And stood up. The stars above him turned red. As he walked toward his final target, the sky above Gralian core was clear. No fighters. No fleets. No warnings. Because no one was left to fight. The cities were quiet. The roads were empty. Shops stood with lights on, but no customers. Weapon systems were online, but no fingers touched the triggers. Everyone was watching one thing: the road. The long, empty road from the stars. Because the human was coming. Not running. Not flying. Just walking. And they didn't even try to stop him. Not this time. Main story. In the Grand Command Hall, Supreme Warlord Hark sat alone. His armor lay beside him, untouched. The walls around him showed images from across the planet. Desert bunkers abandoned. Air bases silent. Forts open and empty. He pressed a button. A live feed showed the main bridge. One figure walked across it. Slow. Calm. Hark whispered. No walls. No machines. No screams. This is what real war looks like. The human stepped off the bridge and entered the city. Doors opened for him. Civilians didn't run. They didn't cheer. They didn't kneel. They simply watched. Some wept. Some whispered prayers. One child dropped a toy. He stopped, picked it up, gave it back to her with a soft smile. Then kept walking. In the old war museum, the lights blinked. Old generals stood before broken statues. Statues of victories over humans. Statues of planets conquered. One statue had a crack through its chest, like it couldn't stand anymore. One general fell to his knees. He changed history, he said, not with power, with pain. The human walked past soldiers. They held rifles. Not one moved. Not one raised a weapon. They had orders. But those orders died long ago. They had seen the God-killer fall. They had heard the silence after every message. And now their hands shook. Too much to shoot. He reached the citadel of fire, the heart of Gralian rule. The gates were open. Inside stood Hark, alone. He didn't hold a weapon. He didn't wear armor. He simply waited. The human stepped inside. They stood face to face. Two men from different worlds, one broken by pride, one built from pain. Hark spoke first. We called you beast, demon, ghost. The human said nothing. But now I see. You are none of those things. Still silence. You are memory. Finally the human spoke. No, I am what comes after memory. Hark closed his eyes. I was told once that fear is a shadow. But you you became the light behind it. He reached to his side, pulled out a simple data chip. This holds the names, all of them, cities we burned, people we erased, places we denied ever existed. He held it out. The human took it. I don't ask for mercy, Hark said. The human nodded. Good, I brought none. He walked past Hark. Into the hall of control. Thousands of screens lit up. He placed the chip into the main console. The screens changed. They showed truth, real history, real pain. Real faces. Every system in the galaxy received it. Billions saw it. A war of lies ended. With silence. Ships across the galaxy stopped moving. Weapons turned off. Walls fell, because the one thing that ruled them for centuries, fear, was now broken. Back in the hall, the human opened his small metal book. He didn't cross out a name. Not this time. He turned to the final page, wrote only one word, peace, then closed it. Outside, the people gathered. No guards stood between them and him. They didn't cheer. They didn't attack. They simply watched as he walked back down the stairs, past fire that never burned him, past eyes that no longer hated. Far in deep space, the Galaxy Council received the final signal. Gralian core is done. No army had ever said that. But now it was over. Not because of battle, because one man walked across stars and never stopped. Final scene. On a green world where no war ever came, children asked their teacher a question. Is he a hero? The teacher smiled sadly. No, he's something more rare. What? He's a man who kept walking when others gave up. Elsewhere, on a quiet hilltop, the human sat under the night sky. His book lay on the ground. Now full, he looked up, took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and for the first time in years, he rested. Not because the war ended, but because they ended it themselves. He just walked them there.